And the next extreme demon I'm gonna be remaking is FIREWORK. As you can see, in the last voting poll I did on my community section, FIREWORK, out of 5 other extreme demons, won the most votes. And to be honest, it makes me really happy because, as you already know, FIREWORK is a glow style level, and glow style is obviously the thing I dominate the most for sure. However, in the other hand, this level is completely black and white, in which is a thing that I really don't like, to be honest. I personally always like using a lot of colors and hue variations into my creations, and decorating a level without that will be really challenging for me, to be honest. Anyways, let's see how it goes. Let's start it by making the gameplay of this part. As you can see, FIREWORK's gameplay is mostly made of orbs and orbs and orbs. So let's just make a lot of orbs here and a lot of average extreme demon timings just like that. Half of this gameplay will be made of cube and the other half will be a shape part. I'm gonna make it inspired on Conti's FIREWORK part because I think this part is one of the most iconic ones from this level for sure. By the way, I genuinely wonder how people can beat this. Look at this, bro. This is so hard, it scares me. Anyways, I'm making a nerfed version from it, obviously. And I must say, it took me a really long time to finish this gameplay. It's just really hard to work with orbs without making the level somehow inconsistent. But after 3 hours of work, I finally managed to fix all the bugs and get this done. After finishing it, I decided to ask the opinion of someone else about this gameplay, just to ensure that it wasn't looking that terrible. And this person was Lord Vadercraft. For those who don't know, Lord Vadercraft is the verifier of the Ultimate Extreme Demon, and he has also beaten FIREWORK before, so I thought I would ask his thoughts on my gameplay. When I sent it to him, I was kinda worried because, as many of you know, gameplay isn't really my strong point, but he said he likes it, so yeah, I'm glad I managed to pull off at least a decent thing here. Oh yeah, and by the way, this is how it was looking like. Now the time to decorate it has come, and I was surprisingly out of ideas at the beginning. As you may know, FIREWORK is a mega collab. It was made by more than just one person, so each one of its parts is really different than the others. For that reason, I was really struggling to find details to put in this part that would remind FIREWORK as a whole, you know. But then I decided to check through this level again and see if I could find anything to do here. And when I was checking it, I could notice some things that a lot of FIREWORK parts have in common. Basically, the details that appear the most on this level are white squares, these lines, and also these details here, in which I don't even know how to call it, to be honest. I decided I would try to somehow incorporate these things into this remake I'm making. So yeah, I started working on the first block design of this part. I basically made a square, put a lot of bevels of blocks into it, and then added some lines and some glowy details to it, just like that. When I was about to finish this block, I realized this was looking terrible and not really similar to FIREWORK at all, so I just decided to remake it. On my second attempt of making a block, I decided to change the structure of it a little bit so it got less repetitive. For this block, I basically did the same as I did for the other one. I basically put a lot of lines, glow, and a lot of bevels of structures into it. But for the details, I decided to use some squares with some black glow under them and some bright glow on the top of them, just like that. Also, I decided to include those classic FIREWORK details on the top part of this block. After it, I just made a 3D on this block and then decided to make these spikes. I would just spam some spikes, put some black glow under them, and then I would put some extra details on the middle of it, just like that. And yeah, this block was basically done. I do think it looks quite simple if compared to my regular blocks, but in my own defense, I am absolutely terrible at working with the color gray, so yeah, I already expected it wouldn't turn out to be that great, to be honest. After making this block, I decided to make some similar ones just by reusing its details just like that. And then I just copy and pasted them a little bit around the part and it was basically done. After making the blocks, I did some very simple ground spikes and used some white saws, kinda inspired on this firework part. After the ground spikes, I just put some glow lasers and some line details under the blocks because I thought it would really remind firework for some reason. And after doing it, I decided to make some really basic air deco here. The air deco from firework is just a lot of circles and arrows. It's really basic in general, so I would just do the same thing here. I basically just make some black and white arrows and some glowy circles here, and yeah, the air deco is finished. This is how this part is looking so far. As you can see, it's not even close to being done yet, but since I had no idea of what else to add here, also I was a bit lazy, I decided to start making the second section of the part, since I already had some ideas for it. So I will start it off by making some funny poses on this part. I would just make some blocks pose brighter than the others, and then I would alternate it between them, just like how it works on Conce's part. Then I would just make a lot of details in every single one of the blocks, mainly square-shaped ones. Now I would just make a really basic air deco on this part as well. I just add some really bright details and arrows, and also I'm gonna put some glow lasers between the orbs, just like that. Also, I'm gonna do a very simple ground spikes just for the ground not to look that empty. And yeah, at this point I was practically done with this entire remake. Now, the last thing I have to do here is a background for both of the parts. As you can see, firework backgrounds are mostly made of just blocks and squares with very low opacity, and I practically always do this for a background for pretty much all my parts. Just making it once again for this remake wouldn't be a hard thing for sure. I just made some really low opacity blocks with some really low opacity squares into them and made them move rightwards, and it was basically done. But since the first part was still looking kinda empty, I decided to make some cobwebs on some random places just like that. Also, I tried to make a gigantic cobweb for a kinda air deco, but it ended up looking terrible, so I just, removed it. To make this part even more similar to firework in general, I had an idea to add an effect coming directly from Buragos' part, it being these chains just coming out from the left and right of the screen. I decided I would try to reproduce it for this part. I just spammed a lot of chains and made them follow the player, and then I made them to appear on both left and right sides of the screen just like that. It was actually pretty easy and fun to make. I should add effects to my parts more often, to be honest. And to finish it all off, I will just add the name of the members from my channel in random places of this part. Burke, Vantasia, Ghostden, Vubio, Sneaky Brickio, Wateos, 1717, Uzi, Popcosh22, The Lucas X, PolyGD, R6YY, Bill Historia, Nasser Sparks, XCall ZV, Unabun, Lihiu B 2.0, Ingrow Twin AO9, Tryfly, Sparky, Kernel Smile. Your username must be between 3 to 20 characters. Thank you all so much for becoming a member of my channel. I really appreciate your support. To be honest, at the beginning I really thought I'd have a hard time working with black and white in general. Not gonna lie, I was really expecting this part to end up looking kinda mid, to be honest, but it turns out it looks better than what I expected for sure. Anyways, I really hope you liked it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.